The Dr. Oz show and the appearance by Trump is all put-ons.
The real reason he was there was to put on a show.
And that he's been exaggerating his height.
Okay, let's do the math.
This week on Dr. Oz. I'm looking at the schedule on the TV here, and I got my thingy. Starting with today, Monday, September 19. Food hacks you can't live without. I have no problem with food hacks. Notice he's using the word hacks, which is a current clickbait word. And then there's the words you can't live without. Now that's the kind of thing that Dr. Oz is famous for. And he's mentioned this before to Congress. He was being questioned for unethical practices. Says he has to exaggerate and use hyperbolic words. Yeah, we all got to do that these days. Saving time, money, and calories on food. Okay, time and money, that's fine, but the saving calories thing, like I said last week, he's all about reducing of calories. This is the wrong way to go about losing weight, which is why most of his audience is still fat. Tuesday, September 20. True Crime Tuesdays. Is he running out of ideas? I'm not. When moms killed their children. Yeah, this kind of fits in with my last video, my last two videos. Now, I'm old enough to remember times when it was the view of society that women are just perfect and they do no wrong. And I've known that since around age 20 or so. I've known this is a myth. You see, I've always been a true non-sexist. There's a lot of feminists out there who claim that they're not sexist, but I really believe that there's really just not much difference. Women have done all the bad things that men have done, but most of the time they can get men to do it for them, and that has a lot to do with creating that myth that men are the ones who do the bad things. They're doing it for women usually. And enough of that, let's get to Tuesday. I died and came back. You won't believe what I saw. Message from beyond. No problem there. I tend to believe in the paranormal. Thursday, what's really in your pet food? Uh-oh. Too many carbs? Feeding a pet table scraps. I would be against that. There's the saying, sick as a dog. And I think part of the reason why dogs are known to be the second sickest animal on the planet is because they're eating food off the table of the first sickest animal on the planet. And Friday, we got stuff here for Friday. What's your chronotype? Well, there's a new word to me. I have no problem admitting that I don't know everything, and I certainly don't keep up with the latest bullshit. Unlock the secrets to better sleep. Also, worrying there. Yeah, that's a big problem, because your mind keeps you awake. I don't know what they're going to be doing on the show. I think when it comes to sleep, I think the mainstream advice is good advice. So if I was going to recommend you watch any of these shows, maybe that show, Sleep. People really need to fix their sleep. Otherwise, you should be watching my shows. Now I want to review some stuff on Dr. Oz from last week, specifically stuff that I covered, specifically Trump. I did a kick-ass video just kicking Trump's ass. You can find that link in the description below. You don't want to see that. There's some more stuff that I could have put in. The video is already packed. Here's a different look at Trump and Dr. Oz. In this clip, Dr. Oz is just acting really strange at the mention of testosterone.
There was one thing Trump made sure was included.
Your testosterone is 441, which is actually it's good. It's good.
Now this is really immature on both of their parts. Nothing is said, but I get the impression that they're both thinking about sex. And basically, the thingy. As a doctor, Oz knows better than that. He knows it's much more complicated than that. And it might still be a little known fact that women have testosterone and men have estrogen. You know, scientists noticed a long time ago that men have more testosterone than women do. So they linked it with men, and then society just blew it out of proportion. I was just thinking about this, and maybe Dr. Oz was surprised because someone like Trump should have low testosterone since he's old and he's fat and he eats badly. And there's this low T thing going around. So here is another sign that Trump is a freak of nature and shouldn't be running anything.
Clearly, Donald Trump has a lot of testosterone. That's why under each of his eyes, he's got an extra ball sack.
Then there's Trump's weight. Remember in my video where I said, now if these numbers are true, Trump's weight and his height, then this would be his BMI. Entering Donald Trump's numbers to 6'3", his weight 236, shows you BMI 29.5. Obesity is at 30, and that's really close. And that's all I said about that. But while looking up his height, I found two different heights. So I went with the highest one, just to be on the safe side. But now I've seen evidence that he is not 6'3", and that he's been exaggerating his height.
Okay, let's do the math. His very strange doctor wrote a letter this week with some numbers in it that Mr. Oz read on his TV show, which he for some reason calls Dr. Oz. There is evidence now that the letter Mr. Oz fell for completely on TV lied about Donald Trump's height and weight so that Donald Trump would just squeeze inside the clinical definition of obese. He gave a height of 6 feet 3 inches. Other sources say that Donald Trump is 6 feet 2 inches. And he is shorter than Jeb Bush is 6'3". The most gullible voters in presidential primary history chose the guy making the goofy face as the Republican presidential nominee. The guy who now lies about his height.
Leave it to Trump to exaggerate his height, just like the typical alpha male. These are the kinds of men that women should avoid, but often end up with. And I also gave some other signs of men that you want to avoid. Freely had said, telling all the women in her audience not to just go after these attributes like big muscles and the square jaw and the ripped pecs. And I could also add tall men and all this stuff that shouldn't be important if you know what you're doing.
Mr. Oz fell for completely on TV.
And where better to pull off the greatest illusion than in the land of Oz? She spent the whole week recovering from pneumonia, so her opponent, Donald Trump, well, he got to be the only candidate out there this week because all his diseases are psychological.
But this would include women too, because it's just that it's more common with men. So watch that video, 3 videos back, how to avoid these Trumpish people. Remember, they're not real easy to spot at first. They make a great first impression.
He, of course, is in favor of murdering the families of terrorists. Temperamental man-child.
Both my sister and mom once were married to men like this, and I knew these men. Got lots of personal experience. They're smooth operators, but then things turn to shit. Thumbs up, share, subscribe, and stick with me if you want a happy life. Put my channel in your favorites and bookmarks.
Always right because he thinks he's always right. And so there's no, this is like a lot of sociopaths, he just processes the current crisis and moves forward from it without any sort of moral weight to it at all. This is a 5-year-old trapped in a 70-year-old's bloated body.